Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, dish out on the movies. And although we have a lot of stuff coming up to review, it hasn't been on yet, we're still doing Friday the 13th. And this would be the final chapter, which is a joke.
Is it the final chapter?
It's really the fourth one.
Wow.
Marco?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Great job with the title.
It might have been the final chapter when it was made, but since they've made, Marco says, 8 more?
Well, let's see. When did the 5th one come out? Oh, it came out next year. Came out the year after the final chapter.
Okay, so he says 8 more were made. One is a remake. But still, eight more Friday the 13th movies came out, so that's just kind of ridiculous and asinine. So
It'd be funny because the executive meeting had to be like, okay, October's going to be happening again next year. We got to have another Friday the 13th. And then another guy would be like, but sir, we just did the final chapter. And he'd be like, in Hollywood, there's no such thing as a final chapter. Dun dun dun. And then it would be like, okay, let's make this trash. The 5th one. So anyway, Safi?
Alright, well, I don't know what to tell you except that when you have the people come on, the characters in the movie, you basically, before it even gets into the movie, you know who's going to live and who's probably going to die.
Yeah, you know, Safi knew right off the bat, apparently, that the sister and the brother would survive, and then everyone else would die. I mean, isn't that hilarious? It's just like, yeah, that really is what it's like. It's so formulaic and lazy and really, predictable and just really bad.
It is lazy and predictable, and that's disgusting.
Final girls are the worst.
Well, she had an assistant.
Well, I know. Well, she was only kind of okay because Corey Feldman was the best character in this whole movie.
Yes, he was.
A 12-year-old kid is better, or however old he was, is better than all these adult actors who just, I like all the nudity. I think it's great. I think all the sex and stuff is really good to have in these films. I'm not against that like losers nowadays are. But what I'm against is bad characters.
Well, they aren't characters. They're cardboard cutouts. Because
what happened with this movie is they took a giant step backwards from the first, from the second and third one. They took a huge step backwards to the characters from the first movie, what they were like. Just non-characters, just fucking walking cardboard cutouts with boobs. Right, Safi?
Yeah. And, I like the dog, too.
That's not a character.
The dog didn't have a very big part, but he was, I think it was Gordon. Was his name Gordon? He was pretty. I think he was a setter or a retriever, and, anyway, he wasn't on screen that much, and also, I was mad because at the end, I won't say anything about anybody else yet, specifically, but he survived, but they don't show him.
Who?
The doggy.
Oh, okay.
Because you see him jumping out the window and running away, but they don't say, and here's Gordon, or, Gordon's okay, we found him down the road, or something,
It's just kind of implied.
Yeah, but that's...
Because the writers...
It's such a shitty movie. They could have... people like animals, and they like to see... They don't like to see animals get killed, and they probably would have liked to see the dog.
But the writers are
2 seconds.
The writers aren't focused on that. They're focused on teenagers.
And the dog doesn't even have to have any lines. It's just...
These teenagers... Well, dogs don't have lines anyway.
I know, but it's not a talking dog, so all they had to do is just show the dog.
Well, they're focused on teenagers, and
well, they didn't have any left by the end of the movie. Just about
this movie is it's about two houses in the middle of the forest, and Jason comes back to life in the hospital. Oh shit! Jason comes back to life in the hospital, and he just comes back alive because it's the fourth movie. So.
And it's the final chapter.
Really?
That's what it said.
Oh, well, false advertising is okay if it's in Hollywood.
I guess so.
It wouldn't be okay in any other business, but it's okay if Hollywood releases a movie called The Final Chapter, and then it's not the final chapter.
I mean, there's nothing else that you can take from the words final chapter in that it's the last movie.
Well, the thing is that with Saw, it was actually kind of understandable because you could have changed that title to Detective Hoffman's Final Chapter, and that would have actually been a good title and a fitting title. But with this, it's like there really is no excuse. And so Jason's alive, and there are these two houses in the forest. One of them has a mom, a little kid who likes special effects, makeup effects, movies. A cool kid. He's kind of like the audience personified. Like, kind of like Randy in the first Scream before they killed him off and had the girl friend zone him. Like, this character, Corey Feldman, he was the best one in the movie. He was clearly the best.
And he also can act.
Yeah, he can act better than any of these other people in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Even Jason. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I hate to tell you, but the characters they have in this movie, because I told you,
they're awful.
Before you even start the movie, you know who's going to live.
Yeah.
Probably going to live, because you can't say for sure.
There's no
and
surprises.
Who's gonna die.
There's no surprises. There's no sort of suspense or dread that you feel because you just know they're all going to die.
And they're sort of like disposable.
Yeah, they're really disposable. Like, I hate these people. I really hate them.
And then they have a camping guy. And I'll say this because he brought a tent and a sleeping bag. And
yeah, you have a guy and you have a camping guy. Like, those are two different characters.
And he is there because he believes Jason is alive. Now, there's just two things about him, and that's all his character is practically. And well, I guess he likes the sister who lives in the other house, but he's not with this group of kids.
Yeah, the pretty boy likes the pretty girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, he thinks and knows that Jason is still alive because he found out, I guess it was on the news or in the paper or both, that Jason escaped the hospital, that he's still alive. So he knew that. So that was the only thing. He really didn't even say much. Those were the only, like, the two biggest things about his character. He's a brother of a victim, and he knows Jason's alive. That's it. And so frankly, he's disposable too.
Yeah.
Because he really did not act at all.
Yeah, he was terrible, but he was better than the teenagers. Like, let's go through these awful teenagers, Safi, because
I don't even know. Before I could say, well, this is the hammock couple, this is the pot smoking couple. They don't have that.
No.
Because they're not even really together.
Well, you have Crispin Glover.
Really?
Did you recognize him, Safi?
Well, I saw his name, but I didn't recognize him.
The guy who danced? You know, the guy who broke up with BJ Betty, and he said that he really wants to have sex, and then he gets together with that other girl because she's just another girl who's around. Like, these people are fucking, like, gross. Like, they just all go to this house and they all sleep with each other. Like, that's gross.
Yeah.
Like, these people are gross.
They're just disposable.
They're the worst people. Like, thank
worse
God.
than prostitutes.
Thank God that Jason killed them because I don't want them voting.
I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and look
I don't want
to see which one is Crispin Glover because I didn't recognize him.
Safi, he was the guy who danced. I will
don't
say,
remember.
I did like the dancing scene. Like, it's too bad that they didn't give him a better character because he's such a good actor, and they really wasted him.
The guy with the blonde hair? Blondish hair?
The guy, who danced.
I'll have to look.
Well, there's all those other guys who are just, you can tell they're not Crispin Glover.
Well, the one watching
Crispin.
old, I don't even know how he knew how to set it up.
Yeah, this was
funny.
This was another hilarious thing. Was like, these teenagers, what do they choose to do? They choose to sit around and watch silent movies and laugh at them. Like, what the fuck is up with that?
Silent porno
Safi.
movies.
He's that guy. Don't you recognize him?
Well, because his hair is blondish.
Safi, that's...
All those other things we see, his hair
Safi,
is black.
you can tell it's him.
Yeah, you
clearly.
can't tell when you, but
His dancing scene is probably one of the greatest dancing scenes in film history. Right, Safi? In this movie? Well, because it's so hilarious. Like, that was good. Like, see, Crispin Glover, he was the best teenager, I guess, because that one little dancing scene, that was a little hint of a character, because people that age, they would dance awkwardly like that, so it's realistic. But all the other people, they sucked. Like, they just sucked so bad. Like, I hated them. I hated them. All they did was have sex. They didn't have any sort of a character. They didn't do anything. Like, they just sucked. Like, I hated these people. And that's not a good horror movie. Sorry, that's not a good horror movie. When you don't like the characters who get killed. Not good. Maybe it's like when there's a couple that you don't like I get. Well, in the first Halloween, you don't like the blonde bitch, the blonde cheerleader, and her generic boyfriend guy. You don't really like them, but you like everyone else for the most part. I mean, I don't like Jamie Lee Curtis at all, but you like Annie, and you like the kids, and you like Dr. Loomis. But in this, it's like you have a bunch of people who you couldn't give a shit about, and then you have Corey Feldman. And it's like, it's pretty embarrassing that a kid is more likable than these grown adults. Like, even the female characters, they take off their clothes, and it means nothing because they're not good characters.
Well, the kid sees one of the couples, I'll just say making out, X plus, through the window, because they don't even put a shade over the window.
Safi, speak up. The audience can't hear you.
Corey sees, and I don't know what his name is, but he sees one of the
you'll know Tommy's name pretty soon.
When he has when they're getting it on, because they don't have anything over the window, and it's so funny how he reacts. He's jumping up and down.
It's like, why is a kid acting better than these adult actors?
I know.
Like, isn't that kind of embarrassing?
And then the nondescript brother of the victim, and who tells the latest breaking news about Jason, he has him come to his room, and he shows him all these fantastic I don't know what you want to call it, masks and heads of monsters that are really good. It's probably the makeup artist's collection or something, but anyway, and I thought that was interesting. I mean, the kid has so much life,
yeah,
and he's not a little one-dimensional character. He actually has some life to him.
Even though he had to have tuna salad for dinner instead of pizza, and that actually got me in the mood to have tuna salad.
We're having pizza, though.
Yeah.
We don't have any tuna.
Boo! I want tuna salad.
Oh, you can have it tomorrow instead of grilled cheese and tomato soup.
Oh, no. I prefer grilled cheese.
Yeah. So, anyway, I agree with everything Marco's saying. They just... you're not even rooting for them because they're so...
They suck.
They're stupid.
They're just lifeless.
You can't even say they're stupid. They're just nothing.
Yeah.
There's no character at all. And they just, they like throw up their hands and go, ah! and you're dead, and they're dead. I mean,
It's funny too because, Siskel and Ebert they complained a lot about these movies. They were very, very biased against horror movies, and they pretended like horror movies were sexist and bullshit like that. And we've been kind of sounding very negative towards the series, but it's just because they're bad. Like the second one was good, the third one was amazing, but it was a bad movie overall. And the first one was terrible, and this one, if it wasn't for the last 25 minutes of this movie, it would have been worse than the first one.
Yeah, the last I had said that to Marco too, even before he said anything. I thought the very end of the movie, like, I'm not saying the very, like, end, but I'm saying the last, what he said.
The chase scene, the fight between Tommy, his sister, and Jason, that whole sequence was awesome. That was a really, really good,
and the girl wasn't
tense,
good of actor, but I think being with Corey, it's kind of like what Chris Rocken did in Fargo. These two women brought out the good acting in them when the rest of the show sucked. It was in this show, Corey brought out good acting from her.
Yeah, the final girl was actually likable because she's protecting her brother, but she still wasn't a great character.
No.
And but the last 25 minutes were really good. Like, it's really a shame that the rest of the movie wasn't as good as the last 25 minutes, because then this would be a much different review.
Yeah, and if you would see the end, which I guess maybe many of you have, I don't know if you've
yes,
gone
Safi,
beyond
they've seen
the first movie.
No, Safi, people don't even care about the first movie anymore, like,
oh, really?
except for, like, purist snobs who are like, well, the first movie is actually really, really good. And I love the part where they play strip Monopoly. And I love the part where the characters just walk around and, just are the most boring characters in existence. That's the greatest movie ever. It's a horror movie.
I what I'm going to say now, because you just went on and on.
What? Well,
Okay.
I'm telling the truth. Oh, shit.
So, God.
What?
I don't know. I don't know what I was going to say, so never mind.
Well, you said that you liked the ending. I was saying, like, I thought that the ending... It's too bad that the rest of the movie wasn't like the ending.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know what I was going to say.
Why not?
Sorry about that. But it doesn't
Safi.
matter. This movie is really not worth it anyway.
It kind of
Except
is,
for
though.
Corey Feldman, the part with him. I thought everything he did, and then he does this inexplicable thing, which I'm not really sure how that affected Jason or why it affected him. Maybe Marco could explain it to me.
He was just distracted, and he saw himself, because Corey made himself look like Jason as a boy, and it made Jason go like, oh yeah, it's like me. It's like me. I'm not gonna say anything because I'm a shitty ass character who can't talk because I'm in a slasher movie, and so. But ooh, that kid's like me. Corey Feldman is like me.
And when Corey Feldman did this, he distracted him to enough where the girl could mow him down with the hatchet. But then,
and I love the effects in this last sequence, like where they slice through his hand, and then Corey chops into his head, and that's another thing too. I love the fact that Corey is the one who kills Jason. Like, that is just so cool that, like, they let a kid defeat Jason. This seemingly all-powerful character, a kid defeats him. Like, that's pretty cool. They didn't do that in shitty-ass Terrifier 2. No. Couldn't do that. The final girl had to do it because the final girl has to do everything because final girls are the greatest thing in horror movies. Right, Safi?
God. Well, there was a final girl in this one, but she had an assistant who propped her up.
Yeah, he was the best one. The final boy.
Who was? I really liked him in the movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know what else there is to say.
Well, I hated the kills too because
they were pretty anemic.
They weren't very good, and they were heavily censored. Censorship is a huge issue with this series because as the series goes on, they just become more and more unfair, and so they just cut out like all the stuff. And I hate like the censorship with the kills, but still, the kills are terrible, and they cut away from the kills like it's a trailer, right, Safi? Like,
yeah, they do.
It's like, oh, he chops into someone's head. Now let's move on.
And the next person finds the other person slumped over with blood dripping down onto the floor.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, look, he stabbed someone. Cut away. Cut away. Can't see that. We saw him cutting into the head, but we can't see the blood in the head and everything. We can't see that, because that's not good. Adults can't handle that, even though it's an R-rated movie. Oh! Safi?
I don't know what else to say.
Why
like
not?
I said, there's not much to say about it.
Yeah, there is.
If you know who's going to live and if you know who probably is going to live and who's probably going to die at the very onset before the movie even starts, that just shows you the movie's going to be crap.
Yeah. I mean, could you tell that in Scream?
Scream, the problem with those movies is there's just a lot of distraction and noise.
Yeah. Well,
loud noise and distraction.
The fact that Drew Barrymore was on the poster and then they kill her off in the opening scene, like that.
Well, are you talking about the very first Scream?
Yes, Safi, Scream.
The first Scream.
I said that you can't.
I thought you meant the latest one that we saw.
No, I said in the original Scream, you can't tell who's gonna live and who's gonna die.
Right.
Like Drew Barrymore's on the poster.
Well, that has a huge twist to it, or something unexpected at the end, which and it was a brand new series, and it's like it was created because they had this special twist, and also the characters were really good, and they could actually act. So, it was fun.
I didn't like the music in this one either. Like,
There was hardly any in it.
Yeah, and I felt like they took a huge step back. Like, this music just sounds so, like, predictable. Like, it just doesn't sound like... The third movie score sounded like classic. It sounded just completely perfect and just amazing. This score just sounded kind of, like, lame in comparison. Safi?
Oh, I agree. And wasn't very much to it. It was really like a lazy. You really could sense how lazy the people were making the movie. So much for being the final chapter. Like they're tired of maybe they were tired of making them.
No.
And then they flashed a bunch of bills in front of their faces. Oh, okay, we'll make some more. I don't know.
Who are the characters in this movie gonna be? Oh, well, we came up with some really good characters. You have Guy, you have Girl, you have Guy 2, Girl 2, you have Guy 3 and Girl 3. And they all have sex with each other, and that's their character motivation. Their motivation is to have sex. Right, Safi?
Well, then you have...
That was pretty bad.
What, they were twins or something?
Oh, yeah, they were the twins.
And they just... they were like the biggest sluts on the planet.
They're twins.
Actually, one was more of a slut than the other.
Twins are... Twins are, I don't know.
Nothing. There's nothing about twins that make them worse than anybody else.
I thought it was sad, too, because I did like the hitchhiker. I thought that character was kind of funny. You know, the hitchhiker.
Oh yeah, that was really brief at the beginning.
With the gross-looking banana, like the old banana that they... I mean, that banana did not look good. It looked very old. Like you'd use it for banana bread. Right?
Yeah, Jason just... And I don't think they were coming there. It was just some indiscriminate hitchhiker.
Yeah.
And he kills him.
I guess it was a she, Safi. Could you not tell that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kills her. I mean,
Okay.
It was such a brief time on screen that...
I think you're not paying attention to the review and you're looking at my computer screen, so...
Yeah, when Marco does these, I don't know what the deal is, but he's playing a game.
So
as he
what?
does it. I don't know how he plays the game, and I don't know how he does the review, but he does it pretty good for both things.
Well, because you, Safi, you have a problem with, bananas.
Do I?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I did. And I don't know what you're talking about. Usually Marco's making up something, and I wish he'd stop.
I mean, you are kind
Let's just finish the review.
You are a banana.
Oh, God.
Okay? Like a banana. A banana reviewer.
Okay, whatever.
And what am I? I am spicy meatloaf. Right, Safi? Beat that. See, that could be a character in a Friday the 13th movie. Spicy meatloaf. You know, like you could just have a guy, and he's a guy. Right? Like that's the characters in these movies. It's a guy and a girl and a guy and a girl. Those are characters. That's what horror fans consider to be characters. Like, I thought that horror fans like good characters, like fucking the characters from Night of the Living Dead and the characters from Halloween 2 and the characters from Scream and just Fright Night. Like, I thought we liked good characters. I didn't know that we liked these types of characters that just suck. Just suck. Yeah. And I don't like this inconsistency with Jason, too, as a character.
Well, I was just thinking at the end of the last movie, like, he gets chopped in the head. And that doesn't seem to affect him.
Yeah,
and
I guess...
He has to get chopped in the head multiple times.
I guess he's not a human. He's a monster or something. Like, I don't know. It's just... They don't explain. It's too hard to do that. It's, they're too busy focused on, like, creating the characters.
And then another thing I just remembered, it's a mistake. It's a flaw. Well, at least, I think they had it last time, a storm, and the mother comes home first. Remember, there's Corey and his sister and mother.
Yeah, the mom gets killed.
But she comes in, they play just a little bit, or whatever it is. And so she tries to turn on the lights. She can't. She's flipping on all these switches. Nothing's working. So then she goes back out looking for her daughter and son. They're not even back yet. I don't know how she couldn't tell because they'd have to be driving a car. Anyway, that's another thing. I didn't even think about that. So, and she's looking for the dog, too. I think the dog went with them. Anyway, she goes out, and of course Jason gets her, but we don't see really much of anything. She just disappears. So we assume, because he is hanging around the two houses, that she got it. But anyway, so they come home, the son and the daughter, and so they go throughout the house, and then of course Jason's chasing after them. They have all his chase scenes to different places of the house. So they go upstairs to this like bedroom. They have to move this chifforobe or shelving unit to block the door, and they don't really block the whole door, which is kind of odd. And then she grabs a lamp that's on, and it looked like a computer monitor, but I don't know about that date, 1980 something. know. It looked like a computer monitor. Maybe it was a little TV. I don't know. But, she used it to smash him. But it's on. It was on. So how can they have no electricity when the mom's in there, and all of a sudden, and they tried to with switches downstairs too. They couldn't find anything on either. But then they go up in this bedroom, and this lamp happens to be working perfectly, and so does this whatever monitor thing is too. I don't get that. I thought that was a mistake. And then they can't even get the chef robe over the shelving area, which has stuff all over it on all the shelves. It's a tall shelving unit. It goes almost all the way to the ceiling. And they can't even get it to cover the door. And so part of the door is, you can see it. And the guy has an axe, and he just chops right through it. It's just kind of, it's just little details, That's why I said, it seems to me in this movie, they're lazy. They're very lazy. And it kind of, almost like in every movie, they're lazy. They just kind of slide. It's almost like cutting and pasting.
It is.
I don't know if they had that back then either, but that's what it reminds me of, cutting and pasting. So they don't have to they do as little work as possible.
Shit.
That's what it reminds me of. So, anyway, so that's all I have to say about the movie. I thought Corey Feldman was the best part of the movie. I thought he did an excellent job. And if there had to be this, quote, final girl BS, he helped her.
If Corey, let's be honest, Safi, if Corey Feldman wasn't in this movie,
it would have really been bad.
It would have been the worst one. It would have been worse than part one.
Yeah, it would have. He did an excellent job, and I don't know how they did I guess it was special effects, but he cut his hair and shaved it. This guy did a terrible job, but then it was kind of a good terrible. In other words, you could tell it was kind of professionally done looking, so it was probably a thing that you put over your head to make it look like you did that, like a mask thing.
A mask thing?
I don't know, over your head. I don't know what it's called, a skin piece, a hair piece. Well, there's no hair. I don't know, but anyway, whatever. It looked really good, and I wondered what he was doing, because he was coming after them and going after his sister, and here he is. He's in there. He has scissors and a shaver, and he's whiplashing his head with this and getting it all. I'm like, what's he doing? Is he trying to shave his head so he can look like him? Then he calls to him and distracts him enough so the girl can chop him.
Safi, we discussed that in the opening 5 minutes of the video.
Like I said, there's just nothing else that goes on. That was in the last 25 or so minutes.
Really, what this movie should have been called, it should have been called Friday the 13th 4, just watch the final act. Like, that's what it should have been called. Because if I only watched the final act, I would have said, wow, this is a good movie. I wonder how good the rest of it is. Right?
Yeah.
So, what's your food review, Safi?
Well,
final chapter.
I'm thinking that maybe because it's going to be Halloween at the end of the month, we should give it candy review. So,
well, I was going to give the first movie candy corn, but it wasn't good enough to get candy corn.
I don't know. I was thinking about Corey Feldman. He reminded me of Pop Rocks.
Oh, God.
And at the grocery store they have...
so you're saying when you put Pop Rocks in your mouth, it reminds you of Corey Feldman?
Well, the movie is so dull that he's the only thing that Pop Rocks about it.
You like to eat Corey Feldman? Like the witch and the Hansel and Gretel?
No, Marco, I don't. It just reminds me of, it's like...
He's Pop
The
Rock.
movie is so bad. And the actors are so bad. And the action is so bad. And the music is so bad.
Yeah.
That Corey Feldman, he's kind of like a spark. Or he's the Tootsie Roll in the Tootsie Pop.
See,
They're saying the rest of the movie was good like a Tootsie Pop would be. I don't think so.
No.
So the Pop Rocks just hit you immediately. And you could tell by the way he acted he was an asset to the movie, I thought.
Well, to me, like, this movie's not good enough to deserve candy as a review, like, because I just thinking, like, what candies? Like, fucking circus peanuts?
Nah.
Like,
and we tried those, too, last year. Was it last year?
No. I think it was 2018.
No,
yeah.
One time
it was 2018.
CVS, and they had little bags of candy that you can get, and there were only like 8 pieces in them or something, and there were some circus peanuts, and I've never cared for them.
You are a circus peanut, Safi.
And they had some orange ones, so I got some and let Marco try some.
Yeah, I only tried one, and that was enough.
No, he just threw them in the trash.
Yeah. So.
Well, what are you going to give it then? I know. It's hard. That's why I said, well, I'm just going to start thinking about different Halloween candy.
Well, let's look up Halloween candy gross. Because, like, I will say for the last 25 minutes, I will give it a good candy, but we have to find a gross candy that just isn't, like, even a candy. What's a Negro?
I have.
A Negro hard candy.
Never heard
What's that?
It's Hungarian.
Hungarians are racist.
It's Negro.
Negro.
I don't know.
Well, I'm offended.
It means black in Spanish.
Oh, I'm offended. It's like...
No, Marco, please stop it. Don't say bullshit like that.
They should say...
there's the circus peanuts.
Yeah. Well, see, I like Biddo honey a lot.
I do too. They put that as the worst, maybe because of the teeth.
Yeah, it's hard to eat. Good and Plenty I hate. Licorice I hate.
I like all that.
I love Smarties. I love Tootsie Rolls.
Yeah.
I hate Necco wafers.
I love those.
Except for the chocolate ones.
And you can get all chocolate. Those are... Ew.
The wax bottles are like okay. But I don't really like eating that as candy, like, because it's gross and it isn't real food. It's just chemicals. I like the peanut butter kisses a lot.
I love those.
Yeah,
and they're really hard to get.
Circus peanuts are awful. Candy corn is in like my top 5 candies. So that's bullshit. So I would give the first hour and whatever how many minutes.
Everything but the last 25 minutes.
Yeah, everything else in the movie, I would give it wax lips. Because to me, wax lips have always stood out as like a gross Halloween candy because they have like some good flavor, like, and the good flavor would be, I guess, Crispin Glover, even though his character was trash too. But it's just so like weird. It's like, why am I chewing and eating these lips? And you shouldn't swallow it. You're not supposed to swallow wax lips.
No.
So it's like, it's not even a candy. It's just like a stupid, like, toy that it's a toy that you can chew on and suck out flavor from and then throw it in the trash. Like, that's just gross. Like, and so that's like the first however many minutes of this movie. The last 25 minutes is a big fat Reese's peanut butter cup because it felt like, see, this is what I wanted. This was great. It was really fun. The last, the fight, the chase with Jason and the kid and his sister, that was really, really good and really like a classic horror movie. But everything else in the movie, I just was not a fan of.
No. Okay, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers so we can hear your feedback on things. I hope you're watching some good, scary, horror, whatever, mystery movies for the month of October. And if you're going to rewatch, don't watch this series. Don't waste your time.
Don't.
watch, even, which is really weird for me because it's violent. But Jigsaw is so much more sophisticated.
Yeah.
And, you know, they go back and, you know, like just this latest one they made, that's before he dies. But they were actually able to crank out a good story.
Yeah, and it's funny because I watched these people, and they reviewed the Saw movies like 10 years ago, and they hated them. They had similar opinions that we had to Friday the 13th movies. Which
they're not even alike at all. They're not even on the same level.
And so, but it was funny because they loved Saw X, and they thought Saw X was the best one of the whole series. That's how much they liked it. Like, people who didn't like the other Saw movies loved the new Saw because it was that good.
Well, just the insurance one, which a lot of people in life over the years have been rejected for we just had a claim, but it's not a health claim. We could not get somebody, and I had it arranged, to look after our diabetic cat. He was supposed to go to the vet and stay there until we got back. And we had 2 tickets to take a train, a sleeper car, to go to San Antonio, and then go to this convention. I put everything early so we'd get there in plenty of time. We'd have a day to walk around, whatever. It was very hot there, but so what? It's just the way it goes.
Well, and also we wouldn't have been able to go anyways because I was sick. So Safi
just couldn't get it covered. I even bought insurance to cover if there was a problem.
But the
Whatever
problem,
the problem is.
And I was sick, and so we wouldn't have been able to go anyways.
They would not cover it. Would not cover it. So, I mean, people go through this kind of thing over the years, have gone over the... So, I mean, that was a great story. And then the story where somebody just made up the whole thing, my God. There's fraud, and you see it, even today, of course, you know, in all kinds of levels of...
Safi, nobody's getting your stupid political bullshit.
No, it's not just political, it's fraud. People commit fraud all the time. They have people... They don't work like they vote in one place and they live somewhere else. That's fraud. I mean, and somebody's selling in the movie. Like, they sold the guy sold.
We're talking about Friday the 13th.
I know, but I'm just saying that that these movies do not measure up to like the Jigsaw movies, for example. So if you want to watch, I mean, it's up to you. If you don't want to take our word for it, that's fine.
I guess if you want to get drunk and or get high and laugh at something or just watch a shitty movie with a group of friends and make fun of it, turn on a Friday the 13th movie. But if you want to watch an actual good movie, then watch something else. Like Sleepaway Camp. All the first 3 Sleepaway Camps are like light years better than these Friday the 13th movies, with the exception of, I would say, the second and third one are better than the third Sleepaway Camp, but other than that, like, there's a huge quality difference.
Yes, there is. So, anyway, tonight is the first episode of Chucky.
Gay Chucky, because that's what that show's about, is just gay.
Okay, I don't know.
That's
I don't know what to say.
That's all it's about.
Okay.
It's not even a Chucky show.
And then American Horror Story. It's the 3rd episode of this season.
Yeah.
I
hope you review it.
Yeah.
I hope you actually review it.
And I usually watch something else, but I'm like, I get up so early now that I'm so tired by 10 o'clock and I just pass out. And so I'd be watching it and then passing out. So I just give my phone because I can pick up all that stuff on my phone. And Marco uses it and watches it. So I have to watch it first thing in the morning. I also have shipping too. So maybe I can get that done today. So anyway, goodbye everybody.
Bye.